Morning, what's everybody? I just wanted to talk to you guys really quick. I've got a really busy day, but I did promise that I would just get with you guys a little bit this morning, just to recap of how last week went. Last week was such an awesome week for me. I just made a whole lot of connections and just a lot of breakthroughs creatively, and I'm just super excited about my evolution. I invited you guys to watch me evolve, and so I'm just keeping you updated on what's been going on. And I just wanted to talk to you really quick, just about evolution, and just say, just to talk, just to talk to you a little bit about what's going on. So first of all, I am just super excited about what God is doing in my life and how he's moving things and he's shifting things. He's shifting things inside of me, belief systems, and just continuing to propel me forward into, so he just gets all the glory. I'm super excited about that. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about evolution. And, my name is Stephanie. I'm a Christian, and I believe in evolution. And I don't just believe in evolution as a metaphor, or metaphorically speaking, but I actually believe in evolution as an actual occurrence, right? So let me pause, because I'm just waiting for all of the theologians and scholars to stop clutching their pearls. I'll give you a second. Okay. Everybody is done gasping and clutching their pearls. All right, cool. And the reason why I believe in evolution is because God is all about evolution. Evolution, the definition of that is taking something from its simple form and it changing into its more complex form, okay? And so if you cannot see that pattern in your life or in the life of the people around you, that as God moves you and as he elevates you, you are going through the evolution process. He has taken you from your simple form and he's molding you and shaping you and turning you into your more complex form. So if we cannot accept that simple fact, then there's a problem. And the reason why scientists and Christians haven't been able to agree is because Christians have not been doing their job. And in response to science, instead of us trying to be so argumentative all the time about what the Bible says, and trust me, I believe every word of the Bible from the beginning to the end, all 66 books, right? But our job is not to argue scientists down or try to wrestle them down or prove anything to them. See, God doesn't need proving. He doesn't need us to validate him. He's God. Every one of us has been created to do our part in our specific job, right? So if scientists were created by God, and I believe that we all believe that, right? So if scientists were created by God and their thinking and their intellect was also God ordained and God given, then who are we to try to argue what knowledge God has given them? The Bible says that his thoughts are not our thoughts and his ways are not our ways. And so it's not so much for us to argue things down, but just to know that he's God and he's able to do exceedingly abundantly all that we could ask or think. And so if something doesn't make sense to us, but we say that we trust God, instead of always trying to validate God, who is the Alpha and the Omega, and he does not need us, instead of just saying, God is able. With God, nothing is impossible. Christians, we've done ourselves a disservice. Once again, we have fallen into the rut and the habit of being divisive instead of being inclusive. I believe that most of the time the reason why scientists or atheists is because instead of introducing them to the good news and introducing them to a man named Jesus, we introduce them to arguments, trying to argue our side. When God doesn't need to be proved, he's proved himself over and over again to be God. Evolution is real. Evolution is real. He says that he knows the plans that he has for us. Plans to prosper us and not harm us, give us a hope and a future. So that means that he knew us when we were in our simple form, and he's taking us to that more complex state. He knew us before we were formed in our mother's womb. That means he planned that simple form, and we're walking out our destiny into that more complex form. And you know what I've decided to do? I've decided to be a part of the solution and not the problem, and take part in my evolution. I'm challenging you. I'm inviting you to do the same, to open up your mind. You know, a mind stretched does not return back to its original state. So that means once your mind has been stretched past that point, those old mindsets, that's old belief systems, it can never go back to those old thought processes. Stretch your mind. Evolve. So you ask yourself, how do I do that? There has to be a revolution. The definition of a revolution is the removal, the forced removal of an old system by violence. Sometimes you have to do a violent act to yourself. You have to shake your whole foundation in order to let go of those old belief systems, let go of that old mindset, let go of that old way of thinking. Church, let go of those old mindsets. Let go of that old way of thinking. It's time. Stretch your mind and open it up to the possibilities that he's God all by himself. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. And he said, I am that I am. He doesn't need He doesn't need explaining, and he doesn't need validating. He's God. What he needs, what he asks, and what he requires is that we believe that he is just that. That nothing's impossible. And that we wake up every morning, and when we have breath in our body and activity of our limbs, that we thank him and we're open to whatever possibilities he has in store for us that day. I'm inviting you to revolt against your own mind, against your own self, against your own habits that have been putting you in a box, and most importantly, putting God in a box in your life. If you haven't evolved, if you're still an unevolved creature, if you're still a Neanderthal, it's because you have put God in a box. Revolution. Revolution. Throw the fist up. Revolution. Today. Today. I'm revolting. God bless you. I'll be back.